That's right. I'm back. I'm on a soapbox and I'm ready to rant and rave today. But, being the 10th show, I said, this can't be just any other Joe Gets Twitchy. It just can't. It just can't be that way. Uh, I can't always be the one that's has a lot to say. And I know somebody who has a lot to say, and she's joining me tonight. And I'm real excited about that because we were going to do a kind of like a switcheroo kind of thing, but that's been played out. So we decided, we're just going to be on each other's shows and enjoy each other's company and bitch a little bit because we need to.
Absolutely.
Because it's super hot out and it sucks and people are pissing us off, and it's time that we say something about it, right, Katie?
That's right.
Tell everybody about yourself, Katie, who doesn't, if nobody out there really knows who you are, which I doubt. But
there's my first soapbox. If you don't know who I am, I have been on Joe's shows, I don't know for how long. Anyways, hey guys, I'm Katie Salidas. I'm an urban fantasy and paranormal romance author with multiple books under my belt. I'm also the host and producer of the Spilling Ink Show, which runs every Saturday night at 5 p.m. I also do the the monthly indie news with Joe as well.
Yes, and Nina's with us. Hi, Anina. She says, "Bring on the ranting." Oh, yeah, we're ready. We're ready to rock and roll. I think we both have a lot to say tonight. So, let me start without further ado talking about a saga that's close to my heart. Because, I do this This Week in Indies every week, every Sunday. And the way I base This Week in Indies and how I find things is I look at articles online and I try to, do research and try to find something that's a heavy topic to talk about. And oftentimes, like whenever, I'm searching on Google, I'm searching like indie publishing or, self-publishing or traditional publishing or book publishing or something to that effect. And every time I do that, I run across at least 3 or 4 new articles, not old ones that are part of this, the Google search, but new articles that proclaim that they've got the formula or they've got the answer or that, hey, if you want to be self-published, this is what you should do. Those articles, we all have seen them. We all know about them. We've ranted and raved about them on This Week in Indies before. And I've gotten to the point now where I'm looking at this and going, does anybody out there have any sage advice? Does anybody really, truly want to give it's almost like everybody's holding what works for them close to the vest. I get that a little bit. I understand that. But, if you're out there saying you're going to help indies and your thing is to help indies, which a lot of these folks, if you look at their profile, that's what they say, that their whole goal is they say these things to help indies, but they're so generic. It's the same article over and over and over again, where it's like, you got to build your social media. You got to do this. You got to have a newsletter. You got to do this. It's like so blanket and so bland. There's not any real sage. Like when they say build a newsletter, okay, where do I go to build a newsletter? There's no links to MailChimp. There's no links to MailerLite. There's no links to StoryOrigin. When you have your newsletter, where do you go with it? What do you do with it? There's no links to any of that in any of these posts and any of these blogs. They continually leave all of that good information out, and I would write blogs if I had the time, but I don't have the time because I'm here ranting and raving a lot. So I really feel like these websites and these blogs have done a disservice. The one I can say that I've really enjoyed is the Draft to Digital blogging. They do a pretty good job of actually giving you sage advice. Oftentimes it's self-serving because why not? It's on Draft to Digital. You might as well use Draft to Digital because, hey, look, I'll teach you how to do something because you can do it on Draft to Digital. That makes total sense. I mean, I don't blame them for that. I don't have any, if you're a part of Story Origins, you should be getting the newsletter. If you have opted out of the Story Origins newsletter, you're an idiot because Evan does a really good job of laying out certain things like advanced features and things like that maybe people have questions about. He takes a question from all the questions he gets constantly, and he answers it in the newsletter. So I think, those are the kind of things that we need more of out there. So if you're out there thinking about, okay, I've now written 16 books and I'm going to tell you to go get a newsletter, build a website, just save your breath. Those articles help no one except for the people who've never done it before. And even then, I've talked to people I know who have always wanted to write a book, and then I send them that link, and they go, "What the fuck is this? This doesn't help me. This doesn't do anything," So even for them, which is their target audience, really, it's not us. We're not their target audience. However, we're the ones bringing them up, and I've never called out the person who's written these articles. I've never been like that. I will never do that because that's just not right. The people who are a part of the show know where the article is, and I'll put the article up post. So I give them traffic. So I'm kind of hypocritical and helping the problem a little bit, but it's like, I just want to implore you, if you decide to write a blog, if you're an indie author, even if you're a traditional author and you decide to write a blog about being a traditional author or an indie author or any kind of author or any kind of writer or anything, do something with it that helps people. Don't write these stupid blanket articles. I get it. It's clickbait, and that's how you get people to your site. But, maybe write one of them and then actually help people. Don't republish the same. I've seen this, Katie. Believe it or not, Katie, I've seen this. I have seen this, and it pisses me off. I've seen the same person pop up a year later with the same article, republishing it because they lost a little bit of traffic on their website. So they thought, okay, well, that's worked the first time, so I'm going to re-clickbait. They re-clickbait on these stupid things.
There are services that will do that, will create evergreen content by just continually cycling your old material. So he might not have even done that. It might have just been, it was in their cycle in whatever service they're using to set it to evergreen. So republish it every year or so to get more traffic. Mm-hmm. And the worst offenders, though, are the ones that will give you the tiniest bit of information and then sell you on a service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I hate those. Because indie authors, we have so many freaking expenses. It costs so much money to publish a book the right way. And even when you're trying to do it on a low cost basis and you're really budgeting yourself, by the time you get to the end and you've published that book and now you've got all this other stuff you've got to do that costs money, you're pulling your hair out going, okay, which one do I do? Can't stand it. Can't stand it. Everything is a pay-to-play service these days. And there are blogs out there that are people genuinely trying to give good information, but those are drowned out by all the clickbait articles.
And it's just become rampant. It's really ridiculous. Like the other article that I really abhor and just makes me throw up when I see them, literally I gag when I see these articles, is the articles from like Publishers Weekly talking about the successful self-published. Look, this guy was self-published. He's so successful. It's like, come on, and it's like, but who does that help? So that you're patting that guy on the back. Okay, great. Thank you. And you're giving more attention to that guy. Okay, that helps that guy. But if you're building a community, the person who always gets interviewed for those things is like, yeah, I did this and I did that, and I'm the greatest. And
oh no, my favorite is the groups on Facebook, and I won't call them out specifically, but the ones where they have people constantly posting, their statistics and what they've made. And if anybody ever asked, what did you do? They kind of get pushed off. It's either very, very generic, I did this, this, and this, or it's go read the articles that are saved in our files.
Yeah.
That's my favorite fuck off answer that I hear. And it's like that you're not helping those newbies. If you're going to publish a brag post about how you got where you got, then you know what? Do people justice and post the how you got there portion of it, because that's what really helps your fellow author.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, plus not all, it's not one size fits all either.
No, never.
It is. So maybe in an article that might be helpful, you might give them suggestions on how maybe it might fit them. If you're a fantasy author, I'm a fantasy author. So if you're a fantasy author, let me show you what I did with dragons that will maybe, if you have dragons in your story, you might be able to use, something to that effect. Or maybe you can take elves instead of dragons and use the method I use, kind of those kind of things. It's never, But it's never that. It's always, oh, I spent, $7,000 on Facebook ads, and that's how I got famous, right? And it's just like, well, I don't have $7,000, you fuckhead. Why don't you, do something useful with that?
Now there is one that is useful out there, and that's Brian Cohen. He does it a couple times a year. It is a free week-long, this is how you do Amazon ads. And he runs it beautifully. He teaches people how to use the system, and that is 100% free. Yes, he does tell you about other services that he provides, but it's no pressure. And he is providing this absolutely wonderful free service that does teach authors how to budget and do Amazon ads at the same time. So I really appreciate the good ones that are out there.
Nice. Anita says they don't even tell you what to put in your newsletter now. It's just like, just do a newsletter. Okay, how do I do a newsletter? If you're that's the thing about it, right? You're aiming toward the person who's never done it before. They don't know what MailerLite is. They don't know what MailChimp is. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to format a newsletter. They don't know what looks good, what shouldn't look good. And people these days don't do the research enough to do that, and that's on them. So there's a little bit of that too, but still, I mean, you could push them in the right direction a little bit.
Can we rant a little bit about the newsletter glut too? Because everybody has been pushed to go do newsletters, and I get it. I understand why, but oh my God. I am unsubscribing daily from at least 10 newsletters because I can't even get to the real emails that I need to get to. And this is my spam folder that's overflowing. And I can't get to any real emails in there because I have so much spam. And it's a lot of times it's from those signups where, you enter a contest, and yes, when you enter the contest, you are going to be signed up to these other authors' newsletters.
Yeah.
But then they all flood you at once. So it's the glut is overwhelming. And I think authors need to understand that with the newsletters, one, it needs to be newsworthy. You don't just send out a newsletter just to say, hey, buy my books. Yeah. Have something worthy to say. But again, that falls under nobody teaches people how to use the newsletters. But it's just insane. The newsletter glut has got to stop.
And Anita says, that's why I do free webinars, pull the nuggets from each one. And she says, David Gowron is a good
he's
one.
Wonderful. Yeah, he's absolutely wonderful. I reached out to him for Spilling Ink, and I never heard back. So if you're out there and you're listening, we want to talk to you, David.
Nice. Yeah. So, I mean, that's how I'm going to get this thing rolling, because that just makes me mad. I want real news out there. I mean, this has even happened for us in our news show, right? I mean, we were literally everybody who for a little bit behind the scenes for everybody here. When we were talking about it, doing the show, when to do it, we actually moved it back a week because we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. There was not a lot out there, and we were scrambling to try and find stuff and figure things out. And when we did that,
news, because there's other bullshit out there. Real news, something important to you guys.
Yeah, and so. And luckily for us, then it all exploded when we decided to do the show. But that's not always the case, and it's like that happens, and so it's because these goddamn people are writing these fucking fluff articles and these clickbaity articles that suck. So
well, and a lot of the articles too are misleading. Like when we were talking about the Kindle Vella, it's not a new. They're not reinventing the wheel. It's old news. It's a new service for Kindle, but it's old news in the industry. But it's being promoted by everybody and their brother as this brand new thing. So finding real articles about what's going on, who their actual competition is, all that kind of stuff, it's buried under such a pile of crap that to dig it out and find the real meat and potatoes, the stuff that we want you guys to hear because you are important, it's ridiculous sometimes. Yeah, there's so much crap out there to wade through.
Yeah, it's awful. So anyway, so please, if you're going to write a blog out there, if you're writing a blog, give it some nuggets of truth. Give it some things that you haven't seen before, that you've tried. Even if you tried and failed it, I think that's something that we would all love to know. I mean, if you're out there and you're trying Facebook ads, but you figured out that this doesn't work, but this does, that's a great article to write. I think you would get the entire writing community behind that. So I think the thing that people forget about clickbait is that you click on it and you forget about it. I think what's more important and what I value is engagement. And so if you get an article where people leave comments and you're talking to that person about that thing, I think that's more valuable. Even if it's 10 people that only see the article, but all 10 of them are talking in the article, I think that's more valuable than anything that has a million clicks on it that doesn't get seen. I mean, I can show you analytics that prove that point tenfold with the shows that we do. It's like the shows that get the most engagement are the ones that YouTube promotes because they get engagement. It's not about the likes and views all the time. Sometimes it's about who is actually engaging and if I'm reaching an audience. And so YouTube recognizes that and says, hey, let's have you get more audience for that. So, so that helps a lot. So I think you got to write something that's engaging is what I'm saying.
That's true. That's true. But and I'll tell you a little secret too. The book that I released in December, the write and edit the book.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through katiesalidas.com, you go through my blogs, everything that's in that book is on my blog. I compiled that book from 10 years worth of writing advice on my blog. Yeah. So it's nothing new. It's all there. You just have to find it. And I guess my problem was engagement wasn't there because those blog posts went unnoticed.
Yeah, well, you got to get the book because it's just got the shiny new cover and everything like that, and you're helping Katie out by getting the book too. So do that. So,
yeah, but the goal on that one was just like you said. I want people to have real information. I want people to have things that are going to help them on their writing career. That's the whole goal of this.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to start this show. Katie, why don't you jump in and give us a nice fresh rant for everybody?
Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about writing. Authors, I'm talking to you. When you are writing, just because it is fiction does not mean you can make up all kinds of crazy shit. You need your fiction to be believable. And that means if you're writing about a real place, you need to make sure you do your research on that place. You need to make sure you do your research on the time period that you're writing in. Even if you're writing a fantasy world and it's based off of some real world things, do your research. And I'm saying this because I've been editing lately, and that's why I haven't been online a lot. And the books that I have been editing have not been researched, and that has been the biggest delay on getting these books finished because I keep finding things that make absolutely no sense. And even if I don't know what they're trying to convey, I know it's wrong. And when I can get that sixth sense of this doesn't sound right, this doesn't feel right, and then I have to go and do the research and then note it for the author, that takes extra time. And if you make your editor take extra time, it's going to cost you a little bit more. So you do not want to do that. You want to make sure that before you turn your book into an editor, you have done your research to make the story believable, to make the characters believable, to make the world believable. So that way it is ready to be edited, because editing is the last step before you get to production. And it's been driving me crazy. And I don't want to call any specific authors out on this, but it is so important. And I think a lot of authors kind of skim over that and they think, oh, I can just get away with this. It's fiction. No, fiction has to be believable. And if you're writing a character that is their early 20s in New York City, they are not going to have a luxurious apartment. They're going to have probably about 700-800 square foot studio where the kitchen and the bathroom are the same room. They're going to be paying about $1,800 a month for that studio. They're not going to be taking Ubers and lifts all across the city. They're going to be taking the subway. These are just things from the last book I was looking at. So do your research.
Anita says, I just did researches, chickens and Norse mythology. Yeah, see? Yeah, I mean, I was telling the story. I've told the story before too about research and rabbit holes. And I was telling the story on the panel I was just on at Writers Conduit about how I researched a specific cash register because I wanted it to fall off of the counter and crush the person that it was going to go under. So I researched the shit out of this cash register because it takes place in the 80s. So cash registers weren't digital that much. They were barely digital at that point, and most of them. And I wanted one that wasn't digital, more manual, because those were the heavy guys. Those were actually made of steel and all of the interesting metal, right? So uh, it's uh, it's interesting that you go down these holes, and then I used literally a sentence for that, right? So if with that research, but I did the research, and it kind of pays off a little bit with that, So if you do the research, you authenticate what you're talking about, and you look like you know what you're talking about a little bit too, right?
Yeah, and I gave a seminar on this, on world building, how we use the iceberg analogy, where you are going to research everything that is below the water there, and there's a lot below the water, just to give the reader that tiny little bit that's sticking up above the water, because you've got to come from a place of knowledge. And research doesn't have to be boring. Research can be fun. And I went down the rabbit hole with this particular book that I was editing. And as I was trying to research what the actual costs of apartments were in New York City and what they looked like, I found the most ridiculous apartments I've ever seen. And that took me down on a crazy rabbit hole adventure that night, where I found not one, not two, but 3 different apartments where the bathroom was incorporated into the kitchen.
Whoa.
I'm talking refrigerator, shower, stove,
and toilet.
And these were legitimate rented apartments within the last year that were about $1,800 a month. And I went, holy shit.
Give new meaning to the term, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah.
Because I guess you do.
And the reason I had to do that was because I was reading through this manuscript, and the apartment that they had this young 20-something, no money, no real job of her own living in, was ridiculously fabulous. And it's like, no, honey, that's not going to work. You've been watching too much Friends or whatever. These are not real apartments. If you're going to have somebody living in New York City, you need to know what New York City actually looks like. And New York City is unlike any other city in the country. So you really have to make sure you get it right when you talk about something specific like that.
40-story walk-ups, the narrow hallways.
No laundry in unit, no laundry in the building. You have to go to laundromats. And Manhattan Island, I believe, is 13 miles long. Most people are taking the subway everywhere they go.
Yeah.
They're not getting in a cab because 1, traffic is ridiculous, and 2, cab fares are ridiculous.
Yeah. And 3, you can get anywhere you want on a subway within reason. They're not that big of a delay for you.
Yeah, a 5 to 10 block walk is not a big deal for most New Yorkers. So yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, and please, do your research. Holy crap! I don't believe we actually are ranting about this.
No, we can't, because it's it's a genuine new author mistake. It is.
Yeah.
And writing a book is, as much as we talk about it, just sit down and write, there's a lot involved in it. And the research for the world building, even when you're talking about a world that already exists that you're borrowing from. You have to get it right, because anybody who lives in one of those cities you're talking about is going to be a potential reviewer that is going to 1-star you down the line for getting it wrong. And Rebecca, they will. They will.
Rebecca jumped in and she said she wants to know more about Norris chickens.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
Totally. So I know this is going to trigger you too, and be near and dear to your heart. But the other thing I wanted to rant about for writing is convention etiquette, because I'm learning. If you don't know, I'm learning that conventions right now are just blowing up. Like, people are going to these book conventions, writer conventions, Comic-Cons and book fairs and marketplaces, and people are clamoring to get out, so the attendance is through the roof on these things, and there's a lot of good traffic, and people are selling more than they've ever sold before. But I'm also hearing that that's creating a lot of laziness. And if you're gonna along the lines of being that douche that writes articles for clickbait, if you're going to be that douche that just sits there and doesn't engage your audience, doesn't interact, this is not going to last forever. You may come away with a good weekend, but maybe the next con you go to won't be as populated. Won't be at it may it's all starting to come back to a little bit of normalcy too. So if you're developing this habit because you are an introvert and you don't want to talk to people or whatever the case may be, whatever the thing is that is causing you anxiety, fear, whatever it is, get up off your ass and engage people and do those things, because you're hurting the con as much as you're hurting yourself. And so I'm speaking on behalf of the cons for this particular rant, because I really feel like if there's a good con where everybody's engaging one another, not only do you build a network with those people, but you build a trust that, hey, I know that this person is going to be next to me, so I want to be next to that person because they're really good at, like, anytime that I would go to a con that I would be selling at and Bobby Nash is there, I want to sit right next to fucking Bobby Nash, because Bobby Nash is awesome at these things. I've seen him in action. He's really great. He engages, he talks to you, he tells you all the stories you want to hear. He talks to you about silly shit. He doesn't just talk to you about his books and his writing and stuff like that. So those are the kind of people that I want to be next to. And I know Katie has a routine with what she does in Phoenix and in that respect too. So, I just breathe laziness, breathing contempt, and it's just I really was sad to hear a lot of people tell me that. And I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm talking a lot of people have told me that. Like, there was people there who saw that this was a big selling time, so they just they barely talked to people about it, and just sat there and let people come to them.
I've never liked seeing people do that. When you are going to an event and you have paid your table fees and you've paid your hotel fees and it's a lot of money to go to these events. They're not free. They're not cheap. When you go there, in order to sell, you have to engage. You can't just sit back and let people come to you, because you know what? There is so much white noise of all kinds of other crap around.
Yeah.
That if you are not trying to actively engage, they're going to miss you.
Yeah. What makes a good convention for you in terms of what you've experienced? What and not just sales wise, but I'm sure there's more factors that you've considered as to why you enjoy a con.
For me, it's the engagement. It's always been the engagement, and I'm one of those people that will stand the entire time. And usually my favorite thing about conventions is people wear their fandoms right out in the open. And it's so easy to find somebody that you can connect with because they're wearing a Doctor Who costume, or they're drawn to something that you're drawn to, and you can just go, hey, I love this, and you can get into a real conversation with them. And you don't jump out at them as like a used car salesman. Hey, you want to buy my book? You're engaging with them on a real human level. And when you do that, they kind of want to know more about you. You've connected with them, and now they're interested in what you do. And that gives you a chance to talk about your work where it doesn't feel so, hey, buy my book.
Yeah. And Rebecca said this before you said it, and then she goes, called it.
Of course. I wear my cosplay too when I go, and I don't usually wear it the whole weekend because the jacket, while absolutely wonderful, it's a bit hot once the convention center fills with people. It's just like, oh my God, it's so hot in here. But I love getting out there and I take pictures with people. I have been known to chase people down because I like their costume. And if you follow any of my feeds, during the weekends where I'm doing conventions, I flood them not with pictures of my books, but of the awesome cosplay that I see and the people. I appreciate what they've done to put their costumes together.
Nice. And this is coming from an introvert, ladies and gentlemen. Katie is an introvert, and and she's so I really I'm not belittling anybody's fears or anything like that. I get it. There's and as an extrovert myself, I can be insensitive to that and not understand it. But there is something to be said for coming out of your shell, and if you're going to take this leap and do this, you got to take the leap and do this. You can't just sit back and not let it. It's not gonna. You may get lucky one time, but you will not get lucky twice. I just don't think you will. I just think it's a tough deal if you do that.
For the introverts out there, the trick is introverts don't. It's not that we don't like people.
Yeah,
we have to be mentally prepared to deal with the people. And when you're doing this at an event that you like and you know you're going to have fun, it's a lot easier to do. And again, you're not engaging them on a I want to sell you something level. You're engaging them on a oh my God, you like the same thing I do. That's so cool.
yeah.
It's easier to do because you've got something that you can really talk to them about that doesn't feel like it's forced. And that makes it a lot easier. Now, being an introvert, I can tell you this. At the end of the day, I fall face forward onto that pillow and I'm dead afterwards. I have to completely recharge, and I sleep really hard when I do sleep because it does take a lot out of you. At the end of the day, you are dead to the world.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that. But it's just like I was just so because like everybody's excited about cons right now. I mean, like all of the people I've talked to have been like really, oh, this was a great con. This is the best year I've ever had at this con. This kind of thing, and then hear a couple people go, well, I was next to this person who was sitting down the whole time, or they were just drawing or writing. They weren't even engaging the people as they even came to their table. And it kind of hurt me a little bit. I felt like my sales were dropping and my engagement was dropping. And then that one person told me that they even, interrupted the person looking at the other person's books because the other person was engaging and said, hey, I've got a book about this and why don't you come over here? And that kind of that didn't turn right for them kind of idea. So, and it's just like, so.
Poaching is a negative side effect that can happen. And as somebody who does joint booths a lot of times, because again, it gets expensive doing these. One of the tactics that we kind of use when we have a joint booth is what kind of fiction are you interested in? We got dragons over here. We got, dystopian over here. We got vampires. We got werewolves. Pick your poison. And then we direct people towards, what interests them most.
Yeah. And JD said he had a dude in the Atlantic Comic-Con who was a mega Debbie Downer. And then he said, then again, it was a huge bust of a show. But still, I mean, even I think we're quick to engage. We're quick to gauge these things by sales and not realize that there's an after effect to that as well. That there's a grenade effect, basically handing out your stuff constantly to people, even if they don't buy. They'll remember you if you engage with somebody. Like I said earlier, JD was with me when we went and actually met Bobby. That was the first time I met him was at Dragon Con. And in meeting him, you've seen he's been on my shows countless times now, and we've struck up a friendship, and that's pretty cool. And and I bought stuff of his, and he gave me stuff as well, and so all of that came without a sales transaction. It came with just us talking and being around one another, and that's pretty cool. I think I strike that up as a win in that respect, and I hope that he did too. I don't know how he feels about it, but I would assume he did feels that way. I mean, so that's you have to understand that there's more to it than I think that goes along with the blog thing that we were talking about earlier. There's more to it than just posting about who you are and what you've done. There's more.
It's easy to get discouraged if you feel like you're not making a lot of sales. And for me, my metric is usually if I can make my fees and end up at a zero balance at the end, I'm usually happy. And I've had days where, sales kind of suck and I'm feeling, a little bit down because nobody's buying stuff, but I still have fun when I can get out and engage with people. And usually that's when I go, guys, I'm taking a lap. And I walk away from the table and I go mingle and I go check out other booths and I go find people in cosplay that's amazing. And that kind of, it brings the mood back up and you bring that good mood back to your table.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. So off of that rant, do you have something else you want to engage our audience with tonight?
What do I pick from? Look, okay, it's been hot. Everybody's been bitchy. I am not immune to that. Everything has been getting under my skin lately. I don't know if you're feeling the same thing out in California, but we've had the heat wave that I wasn't expecting until next month already start. And it's been, I call it the triple teens because, you say triple digits and people go, oh, that's hot. But when it's triple digits, but it's also above 110, that's a whole new circle of hell you've entered.
Yeah.
And you just don't want to go outside. You don't want to wear clothes. It's so goddamn hot. Your air conditioning is struggling to keep you cool indoors. And you just want to hide under a blanket, but then that's too hot too.
Knowing that you were going to be here today, I was going to bring up something that I know is also near and dear to your heart, and that is guest relations with our shows, and the idea that, look, if you commit to something, and even if you commit to it 4 months down the road, all I ever need from you is to tell me whenever we start to, figure out what we're going to do that week, to tell me you can't be there. If you do that on the last day, or you just completely no show, you screw everything that we are trying to figure out. And I'm just want to implore people to act with a modicum of professionalism, please, just a little bit. Look, I'm not going to be mad at you if you can't make it. You can't make it. You can't make it. I get it. And maybe you see my show and you go, I don't really want to do that show. That show sucks. I don't really like that Joe Compton guy. That's fine. That's fine too. I mean, you don't have to tell me that. You could come up with some reason, but you could tell me that too. I don't really care if you tell me that.
No, God, no. That would be horrible.
But but still, it's just like, showing screws everything up, and as Katie will attest to, there is no show without guests, because that's what we built the whole show around. So if we're scrambling to get people involved, that's the reason why you see the same people over and over again a lot of times, is because those people are reliable, and we'd love to have them on every week. I would anyway. So, but I also know that variety is the spice of life, and there's a lot of great things you can learn from, and other avenues you can approach, and things like that. But it's frustrating. I've always appreciated anybody who's honest with me about they can't do this or can't do that. And those are the people that I will ask again. And if I have an opening, or if they sign up again, which some of them do, and so that's cool. But if you're constantly doing that to me, I give you 2 times, and then I'm done with you. After that, I won't. If you've signed up for multiples and you've no showed twice, I'll erase you from existence. Because I can't deal with that. Fool me once, right? Kind of idea, and it's tough. It's tough to put on shows like this.
Absolutely, and to piggyback off of that, promote your appearances. I cannot believe how many people come on any of our shows and they don't promote their appearance. They just leave it up to the show itself to promote their appearance. You have to do your own marketing. If you're going to be on a show, if you're going to do any media whatsoever, share those links. Put those links on your media page on your website, because you should have a website. Do your part in promoting it as well, because that's what gets the engagement to increase. Like it, share it, comment on it. That helps the algorithms. Be proactive in getting your appearance more views.
Yeah. There's a lot of good comments here, so let's run through some of these comments too. Rebecca says, let's do this. Bobby is a cool dude. Met him at Broadleaf event, and yeah, Bobby's great. And then Rebecca says, makes note not to tell Katie about the low 70s weather I've had all week. It's worse when the no-show happens with a one-on-one talk show. Yes, that is the worst. And then this after Joseph, no, I didn't stand you up. Our show is this Monday, Rebecca. You don't remember things correctly. Ooh. We are doing our thing is this Monday, not last Monday. So that's
fighting words.
I've been on several shows, but rarely cancel when I do. I work hard to say as soon as possible. I appreciate that. very true, Anita, with the panel. It's manageable. Yeah, it can be, but I've had shows where I've had two people, and it's really tough on them because then they have to talk, and sometimes they're not always the talkable ones. I mean, I've been lucky a couple of times where I've had like a Nikki Nelson Hicks who likes to talk, or a Joshua Pentel-Resco. Those guys can carry a show for me. But sometimes it's not the case. And if you have two people who have never been on and you're dealing with that, it takes a lot to run that through. Explains why it made my head wobbly. Okay. Life happens, Anita. Totally get it. No, she's not. That's her. What? Okay. I must have missed something here. Hang on. Okay. Oh, Katie is echoing. And
I've been hearing an echo occasionally too. I don't know.
No, she's not. That's her God voice.
Oh, I'll take that.
Still waiting for tomorrow's link. I gave it to you, JD. Jeez, dude. Not only did I put it in the chat that you and I and Rebecca are in, but I emailed it to you too. So you have both. I forwarded the email that Katie sent me on the day she sent it to me. So, mostly no shows have good excuses though. Time zone makes it up. Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's not. Last week you said Monday, not next Monday. Probably that's probably.
Wait. Is this for Spilling Ink? Spilling Ink's a Saturday show.
No. She's talking about the Monday. I'm doing another thing with her, and I said the Monday after next Monday, and she must. It happens. Probably my fault. It's my fault. Or Brian Tan. Yeah, Brian Tan's a good one too.
Oh yeah, Brian Tan can hold a show. Oh, he's good at talking.
But yeah, so yeah, it's I just look. I get it. Lives happen. People don't want to be on shows. I get it. Whatever happens. Your audio doesn't work. Your video doesn't work. Whatever. That happens too. And that happens. You can't predict that until you're actually on the show sometimes to do that. That happens too. But I'm just talking about blatant disregard, and it's just kind of like whenever, and I'll email that person or I'll talk to that person. And that will be the one that doesn't talk to me back, doesn't email me back or anything. And I'll get this too, where they'll email me 3 weeks after the fact and go, oops, I didn't see the email. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Ooh.
Yes, but not sure the one to post for people to click off of to check. That's because I don't have that link. That's Katie who has that link. So
wait, what? I sent the link for you
for people to share it.
Oh no, I do owe you that one. Okay.
Yeah. So see, I just do Katie on the bus.
Whatever.
I don't know what email then. Because I did definitely send it to you. That's the link we had asked for. Okay. Well, whatever. And I told you, and I think I told you in the chat that I didn't have that link either. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Pile on me. That's fine. It's all my fault.
We're supposed to be the ones ranting, and we're getting it from from the comment section.
The YouTube, not the StreamYard. Yes. Okay, we get it now. Okay, I understand.
I will send Joe the appropriate links after we get off this stream. Get off our back. We love you.
We love you, all of you. You're so great. Thank you for being here.
And on that, let's have some appreciation for how much work it takes to run a show. Okay. We're humans, guys. We're humans.
You should come on, JD Dog. Look at you, all of you. The prod, you get the prod.
Oh no, and the banana too.
Prod and the banana. That's a great show idea. Let's talk afterwards, guys. All right.
and just this is a personal rant I want to add.
Yeah.
And just going off the whole bitchy thing. And this may just be the heat and whatnot, but For those of you out there who know a writer, who are friends with a writer, who live with a writer, when they're working, even if they're staring at the screen, tapping their fingers and not writing anything, leave them alone. I have had the hardest time concentrating lately because nobody understands that when I'm staring at the computer, I am actually working. It may just be up in here, but I'm working. And I can't work very fast with a million interruptions. And it's everything. It's, friends dropping by unexpectedly. It's my kids. It's emails. It's phone calls. Just you name it. Everything has been just an interruption, a distraction. And again, it's hot, so I'm extra bitchy because of that. But lately, it's felt like I could scream it and no one will understand that, yes, I am working even if I'm not typing yet.
Rebecca says, yes, Katie, yes, use that God voice. Make them listen.
I don't know why it's echoing today. I have nothing else opened.
I don't hear it, so I don't know why either. I don't hear it at all, so I don't know what's going on there. But normally I can hear it sometimes. New sitcom, yes. The Banana and the Prod. Let's do it.
Ooh, all right.
Let's do it. All right, cool. Yeah. Coming to a Going Now network near you. Oh, the spam phone calls. I hate that interruption. Why do you take spam phone calls? Why don't you just let your phone filter them? Here I am. Now I'm yelling at Anita. This damn heat. I literally built a wall to allow me to write. Didn't work. Put up a sign on the wall. Didn't work. Yeah.
I have a friend who I specifically told I'm busy, and they showed up. Ringing the doorbell. I'm like, come on, I'm just trying to get stuff done. My kids, I closed the door. I had a meeting that I had to attend, and I've told them time and time again, if the door is closed, if you are not bleeding, if the house is not on fire, you don't open the door. What do? Knocking on the door, opening the door. And of course, the minute they see that I've got a camera going, then they want to be cute on camera because everyone on the other side goes, oh, your kids are so cute. And they feed on that. And so then it's 10 minutes of trying to get them back out of the room before I can get back to work again. So there's just been so much distractions lately. And yes, I've probably overheated and that's why I'm cranky. But damn it, let your writer people in your life work.
Fair enough, Anita. I'll do that. But that's totally fair. I get that. I had to take a call today in the middle of doing video editing, so I know how it is too. But can I tell a story of when I was on with you and your kids interrupted us? And
yes, go ahead.
So I was working with Katie on something. We were actually planning for. We were doing planning for the late night, and Zoe came over, which is her daughter. And she had to show me the new toy that she got. And it was a bag of toys. So then we went through every single one of them. She showed me every single one and how they worked and how they went through it. And she was so excited. It was really cool. I whatever. But obviously, and I can see Katie going, okay, do you have to show them every single one?
And she said yes, too. She's like, yes, I do. That girl will tell you where you stand with her on everything.
I'm just glad she wasn't staring at me viciously. That's all I care about. If she's smiling, I'm okay. Actually, I was kind of disarmed by the smile, but
as a funny aside, she's been following the astrology stuff that I'm learning, and she is so proud that she's a Scorpio. She tells everyone about how she's a Scorpio.
Rebecca says, shoving their paws under the doorway. Knock, knock, knock on Katie's door. Hey. I bet you if you showed up, JD, she would be happy to see you, though. I sang that, JD.
I'm always happy to see my friends. And yes, that would be a very big surprise, considering JD's all the way on the other side of the country.
Right.
But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it pushes my work back.
Yeah.
And if I'm on a deadline, especially, and I know I can't miss a deadline because I was raised at gunpoint to never be late. Mm-hmm. So I have that in my head and I end up going and spending all nighters getting stuff done. And the next day I'm 100% useless. So I hate doing that to myself because I can't miss a deadline. And so every distraction just pushes my time further and further back. And I end up working myself to death at that point.
So I wanna level another rant out here and talk about one thing that so here in California we just opened up June 15th. We dropped our masks, and everybody can go maskless that has been vaccinated, and businesses are all open, restaurants are open, and movie theaters are open. And one of my great passions is to I like I don't get to go to movie theaters very often or movies at all because I'm pretty much busy all the time. But I do, if I'm going to do a getaway day or something like that, that's the thing I go to first. It's like, can I go and spend a day at the movie theater? And I'll do that. I'll spend a whole day there, watch as many movies as I could possibly watch in a day, and then feel like I've fulfilled that, right? So I was thinking about that this week and doing that because it's so goddamn hot. Movie theaters are usually air conditioned, so I was like, well, maybe I'll go to a movie theater because I had this past Sunday. I was thinking about it, right? So I pull up the movie theater that's local to me, both of them. There's two of them that I could have gone to, and literally 7 of the 10 screens. They both have. One has 10 screens, one has 14 screens. One had seven of the 10s filled. The other had 8 of them filled with the new Fast and Furious movie. I mean, if you can't get to the movie theater to see the Fast and Furious movie, it's like waiting for the bus. It comes every 5 minutes. If you miss the first bus, you're going to catch the second bus. I mean, how am I going to go if I go? Okay, so I go watching Fast and Furious movie. Then what? What else do I got to watch? There's nothing else on the fucking screen but Fast and Furious movies. For people who like to go to the movies and watch more than one movie, hello, movie theaters. There's tons of indie films out there that are releasing all over the place. Get some indie films in there. What the fuck are you doing? I don't understand why you think people have to see this goddamn Vin Diesel movie and have to see it 6 times or have to, why not put the responsibility on the person? It used to be it was on 2 or 3 screens because one of them was 3D, one of them was like IMAX or whatever, and that was fine. Okay, so if you wanted to go see the IMAX, you made the effort to figure out the time on which the IMAX played, and you went and did that. Now you're making it too easy. So if they want to see Fast and Furious, they can get up 5 minutes till and go. And the people who go to that movie are the assholes that come in 10 minutes into it, thinking that there's 10 minutes of fucking trailers, so they don't have to watch the trailers. And then, of course, it's dark in there, and then the theater's packed, so then they're clamoring over you to get into the 2 seats that are in the fucking middle that are together so that you can be there. And it just, oh my God, I'm so fucking done with that. And it's like I couldn't go to the goddamn movie theater to do what I love to do because they didn't have any other film. They had that, and I forget what the other one was. It was The Quiet Place 2 was the other one, which I would have gone and seen that. But after that, what? I'm gonna spend $25 to see one movie? Nah, I don't think so. That's not how I roll. So. I mean, when I can also just go and get HBO Plus or HBO Max or whatever it is for $10 a month and watch them all there now, and it's like that's the other thing about it is movie theaters aren't very smart. When it's also streaming, most people don't want to leave their house still. They'll go and watch it on the fucking stream in the comfort of their own home, right? They won't go to movie theater because it costs money, it takes time, it's all the factors that are involved with it. So it's like, hello, how about you put some things out there that maybe people would go and actually see, and figure out, there's great films out there. I mean, why not grab a couple of them and help some indies out while you're at it? I mean, Jesus Christ, movie theaters. I get it. You didn't operate for a year. You need to make your money back. But is that really helping you? I don't think so. I think it's more problems than it's really worth. I don't know, but
they're banking on the blockbusters right now to get the crowds in, and I think that's why they're doing it. They're catering to what they think is going to earn the most money, which is why they're filling their entire screens up with one big blockbuster.
How many times can you see a bad movie though? I mean, really? I mean,
people love that movie.
I'm assuming it's a bad movie, but
people love that movie franchise, and so I get it, and I don't know that there's a better way. One of the reasons I stopped wanting to go to movies, one, I have a pack of people I have to bring with me, so it costs an arm and a leg to do it. But that's because the damn concessions cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
If I could just get away with just the movie ticket, it'd be fine. But no, we got to have popcorn. We got to have snacks. We got to have drinks. We got to
It's a whole
candy.
experience.
It's like, oh my God, by the end of it, it's, you're down $100.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. I will gladly pay the $30 and watch it at home, and my whole family can sit. We can make our own damn popcorn.
And they
So
can leave. And they can leave anytime that they want. And instead of Mom, I gotta go to the bathroom, or Mom, this movie sucks. Can we leave? All that. Right?
Yeah. And then if you leave the kids at home, you got to pay a babysitter. So you're still out the money. So I get it. I get that, they're trying to figure out how to make their money back now that they're reopening. And I do want to see theaters, reopen and stay alive, because there are certain movies that we will shell out the money for to go see.
Yeah.
And when those come up, I want to be able to do the whole big screen experience.
Yeah.
But right now, honestly, the small screen at home is still pretty comfy.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the case. And it just kind of sucks. And, Nia says that's why I prefer our little local theater. I hope it reopens eventually. Yeah.
Now, the theaters that have the big comfy seats that fully recline and they have the real food instead of just the concession crap, I like going to those. And those are the ones I choose for the big screens.
Those are super expensive, though.
The food is. The tickets are actually only about 50 cents more expensive.
Yeah, true.
But the food is definitely, but it's real food. You actually get a real meal, and you can have beer or wine with your movie. And yes, sign me up for that.
I have found, that was supposed to solve the aisle problem thing that I was just talking about. But I have found if you're fully reclined, that cuts the aisle away, and then you have to unrecline for that person to get by you. And it's just like,
it's not a perfect system, but it is better.
It is. Yeah. At least I don't feel uncomfortable in the seats with two people next to me. Right. I've got distance, and I can, enjoy a little bit more with that idea, but which I do. I like those two. And there's a cool theater near me that has like a VIP section where they have them all spaced out. So you feel like, you're at home all by yourself kind of idea. And so it's kind of cool that way. You pay an extra $5 for that. So I'm not too, it's just like, and Rebecca says that's how I felt for about 20 years now. Yeah, it's just, but I was so disheartened by that. I was like, holy crap, I wanted to go to the movies, but I'm not going to go see Fast and Furious because it's the only fucking thing playing,
Mm-hmm.
It's just not my cup of tea. And it's just like, and like I said, I would have saw A Quiet Place, but then it was like, then I'm making a commitment to go all the way to the movie theater and then come all the way home, and do all that. And it's just not worth it to me. And so, anyway, so movie theaters, get your shit together, convention sellers, get your shit together, and bloggers, get your shit together, because we need all of those things to work in our favor. So help us out.
That's right. Get your shit together. That's a good way to end this show.
Yeah, absolutely. Theaters are too people-y. All right. Yeah. I can
no joke. When me and my ex-husband used to go to theaters, he hated anybody near him, and he would start doing the coughing fit if somebody got too close to try and dissuade them from sitting near us. Now I think you get shot if you do that.
Yeah, if the jacket thing used to work, that doesn't work anymore. I put my jacket there, and we got our stuff here. That doesn't work. The holding it thing doesn't work either. Nope. I've had people run me over because of the holding thing, and it's so I like the recliner thing for that reason, because there is a little bit of spaciousness to it. Even if they're connected to one another in a row, you still have that arm. You have your own armrest, which again, sharing an armrest with somebody is very, very fucking uncomfortable.
I know. You're always fighting for who gets control of the armrest. Yeah.
Even if you know the person, it's even worse if you know the person.
Oh no, because then it's a real fight.
Yeah.
When it's somebody you don't know, it's kind of like as soon as they move their hand, oh, I got it, it's mine. But if it's somebody you know, it's like, get the hell out of my way.
Well, I will say before we take off that this is not the only time you will see Katie and I together this weekend. we'll have JD and Rebecca with us. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll
If we
rethink
send
that.
them the link.
If we decide to send them where to go, but
Yeah, I'll
actually they
tell them
know
where to
where.
go.
They actually know where to go. They just don't know how to get other people to watch them while they're there. So, but which actually probably hurts us more than it helps them. So it's fine. We'll give them that link. But that's to spoil it for everybody. Spilling Ink tomorrow night. Myself, Katie, Jane. Is Jane possibly going to be there as well?
She should be there with us.
Cool. Awesome. Rebecca and JD Estrada will be joining us as well. And that's going to be awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I haven't done Spilling Ink in a while, so I'm real excited about that. This weekend actually worked out that I could do that. And you'll see me around on Writer's Conduit all weekend long. I've also got a show coming out tomorrow, hopefully. I'm working on it. It's a genres episode about alternate history, which Anita was on that group with us talking about it. So I'll have that out tomorrow or Sunday as well, and get that going and get back to putting out more shows. This week has been just one of those weeks, and it's just been a bad week. So I apologize for anybody who was looking for Go Indie Now content. There's plenty of it out there. I'm
Catch
sure
up on the shows you missed.
Yeah, I mean, I was giving people a chance to catch up, and Rebecca says, and Katie yells at me if I don't promote an appearance on her show in ways I don't like. You must
Don't make me use the mom voice.
I don't. You were here when we were talking about that, Rebecca, I think. But anyway, yeah. So, but that being said, it's well, I'm gonna let Katie do it. Tell everybody what they need to know, Katie.
Oh, I get to say it? Oh, thank you. All right, guys. I want you to remember, it's always time to go indie now.
And we're jumping off the soapbox, headed towards Spilling Ink. So come and join us tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for Spilling Ink. That's going to be a great show, and we'll have a lot of fun there. And with that, we say good night.